Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to our first International Congress, More Human, Rehumanizing Humanity. I hope that we are being seen live. Let me just check because I think it's not working properly. We are having a little technical difficulty today. Let's see if we can make it open for everybody and you can all join us and participate. Well, while we do this, my name is Jessica Lockhart. I am the director of the International Institute of Humanology, and I am thrilled to open this second part of the first International Congress, More Human, Rehumanizing Humanity. We had the week before this week, last week, in Spanish. We had 5 panels with Spanish-speaking panelists from all around the world. Today, we start our 5 panels in English. I am really thrilled to be here with you. And the first thing I have to do is tell everybody to please write their questions and comments on YouTube so we can use them and transfer them to our panelists as we move on with the Congress. And as you may well know, Rehumanizing Humanity is one of the mottos of our institute. We think that for years, and maybe centuries now, humanity has been focusing everything outside, looking for solutions outside ourselves, outside human beings. And we believe that it's time to go back to looking inside. Human beings are at the core of everything we do. Everything we do is by us and for us. And that's why we think that it's time we go back to really placing us at the core. This is what the Congress is all about. We're going to be approaching different human topics with the help of different international experts from all around the world, and you, the viewers, the watchers, who will participate as well by sharing comments and questions. And without further ado, let me officially open the Congress. Let me start by informing you that unfortunately Dr. Qimis Kataria had to cancel her participation in the Congress last minute. We had no chance to replace her because she just told us that something came up and she couldn't connect. Teresa Egaña also had to cancel today for unexpected circumstances, but we were very, very lucky, and we had the great fortune of having James S.O.U.L replacing her. As you will know, he is a very good expert in this field, as he will prove later on. Now, without further ado, let me start by introducing the first of our panelists today. I am really thrilled to introduce her because she's here not only as an expert, but also as part of one of the organizations that has and is supporting our Congress. We have some collaborators who helped us organize, launch, and disseminate the first International Congress, More Human, Rehumanizing Humanity, among which is this one, Global, International Global Coaching Federation. I just got a message. And then we also have Loani, Ladies of All Nations International. We also have INIPAC and the World Federation for Human Health. Now, yes, without further ado, let me introduce Gilda Delgado, Gigi, as she likes to be called. She is a professional and personal life coach, and she holds happiness coach certifications that changed her life, giving her the opportunity of helping others. She was a dentist for almost 30 years and will always be grateful for the joy and good things that her profession gave her. She is the wife of Oscar, her friend, lover, partner in crime, and her better half, the love of her life, mom of Camilo, who taught her that unconventional love exists, and that he's the one who makes her want to be a better person each and every day. Today is not my day, you know? I don't know what's going on with the telephone. Everybody's trying to contact with us now. So, as we were saying, Camilo has been Gigi's Master of Patience and Tolerance. Adult Caregiver, that is the title she gets for taking care of her mother, Isabel, her Miro, her Master of Hard Work and Sacrifice, and she's a proud scout that knows honor, loyalty, and truthfulness, and how to help others without expectations. She's an advanced world traveler. She's traveled very much around the world, and that has given her her faith in her values, in her life. And through her travels, she discovered how insignificant she can be, but indeed that she can also make a change. She has 12 cats, 4 dogs, and is always expecting more pets to give her more joy and furry days. She's now a grandma of Nicholas, who teaches her unselfish love and emotional intelligence. Without any further interruptions, I hope, Gilda, welcome. So happy to have you here. This is your 5 minutes. Thank you.
Hi, how are you? How is everybody? I'm so glad I got this opportunity today. Even though it seems it's not your day today, it is your day. Every day is your day. And today you're going to have a wonderful, wonderful a Congress. I want to thank you, Jessica, for inviting me. I want to thank all of my fellow panelists. And I'll start to saying I'm Gilda Delgado, and I'm a true optimistic. As Winston Churchill once says, a pessimist sees difficulties in every opportunity. I see, as an optimist, opportunities in every difficulty. Most of the people think when we are optimistic that we are unrealistic or we live in a fantastic world, and that is not what happens. We have to go through a bunch of difficult situations so we can realize that we are truly optimistic. In my case, you see this face, I look like a serious person, but when I was a little bit younger, I used to be very rebel, troublemaker, so my parents sent me away to study in a boarding school. You know what that means for a child in the era of no internet, no social media, just a telephone, those old big black telephones, far away from family. While I was in Europe, I lost my father. And you know, with that loss, what comes? Insecurity, loss of purpose, abandon issues. So what it was for me, just get your stuff and go home. I had to come back to Colombia, and I had to start a career that was in my plans, but I liked it, but I didn't love it. And I went to dental school, as you told everybody, I'm a dentist. And it made me happy, but it didn't make me whole. Even though I practiced dentistry for 30 years, I was feeling that something was missing. And around COVID area, my mother had an accident and I had to start taking care of her. She fell down the stairs. It was awful. She was like 81 years old. And because of taking care of my mom, I started not taking care of myself. And I got COVID. And because of COVID, I lost 30% of my sight. Big news for you. When you are a dentist and you are half blind, as I am, you cannot practice dentistry. So I had to pick my pieces. I have to take care of my mom. I was the person that was more close to her and that was prepared for taking care of her. So I say, hey, Gilda, this is your opportunity. Take it and make the most of it. And yes, it was. I found my true calling. By that time I was with pandemics, I put a little weight, 90 kilos, 188 pounds. I went to mindfulness therapy, and with mindfulness, compromise, purpose, dieting, and exercising, I love Zumba. I returned to my weight, but 55 kilos, 121 pounds. And I'm able to take care of my mom. I was able to give her the proper therapy. And I got a glimpse of something that was love of the first sight, coaching. And I say, this is what I want to be. I want to be a coach. And yes, now I'm a coach on happiness. I have my own certification, happiness coaching. I'm a mentor in mindfulness. I hate people. I am happy. I'm whole. And finally, this is what I am. And all I want, this is to tell you that we all are born optimistic. This is in our DNA. It's not about economic situation. It's not about upbringing. It's not about the generation we were born. It's about facing every challenge with positive thinking, big smile, gratitude, because you have free will. And when you have free will, you have the power to change the circumstances for the better. So be optimistic, and thank you very much, Jessica, for this opportunity.
Wow, what a testimony. Thank you so much, Gigi, for this testimonial. I couldn't agree more with you. You know, one of the things we teach at the Institute is optimism coaching, not happiness coaching, but optimism coaching, which is at the root of humanology, because we explain that, as you just said, we are all born optimists. Children are born optimistic. There's no child who hasn't suffered from some kind of trauma, a normal child who doesn't open the eyes in the morning and doesn't expect the best. Babies expect to be fed, to be cared for, to be loved, to be pampered. They expect everything. And when they're learning to talk or walk, they don't give up. They fall, they get up again, and they try again because they have that hope that they're going to do it. And they have that faith that they will really thrive. So we are born optimists. But our education, our societies tell us that that is wrong. They correct our optimism and tell us to come down from the clouds and to be more realistic. And we're taught that that is bad. More on this by our next speakers for sure. Optimism is the topic for today. Thank you so much, Gigia. Let me now introduce our next speaker for today. I am really thrilled to introduce Javeria Asad. She's based in Saudi Arabia. She is an engineer by training, but has multiple interests and passions. Her curiosity and never-ending interest in human beings results in her exploring different fields, such as social entrepreneurship, writing and publishing. She just published her first book, You Need You, which you can ask her about later on. She is the vice president of Oasis Toastmasters Club. She's a Toastmaster herself, and she's an optimism coach who got her training with us at the Institute. She's one of our expert collaborators, and I couldn't be happier to have her here with us tonight. Javeria, I know is Ramadan. Thank you so much for making the effort to join us tonight. I know what this means to you, and I want to thank you publicly and welcome you. The 5 minutes are yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jessica, for having me and always supporting me. Half of the achievements related to my literature and being an optimism coach is because of you. Thank you so much for being in my life whenever I need you. Okay, first of all, we are discussing about the optimism and being an optimism coach. I just want to, highlight exactly what is optimism. Optimism is something, that motivates you in your hard times, but with the reminders that hard times will over, but you have to hard work with more passion and zeal in a focused directions. Like yes, the hard time will go, but we have to have a sensible approach. We have to work with more zeal and enthusiasm. So things are complex, but we don't need to give up. Okay, and we need to work on through different strategies. This is all about optimism. And I used to tell to my clients during optimism sessions, which means that after any failure or any setback, change the plan, not the goal. Okay, so bad experiences in our working and social relationships or setbacks in achieving our goals. So most of the time we think that we blame ourselves, but believe me that it's not about ourselves, it's about the environment, the social relationship, and the working dynamics we are going into. So as I will go to the topic exactly, the how optimism can help us into today's world. So I will highlight some points that, first of all, optimism, or as ma'am mentioned in her talk, that being in optimism, we have to think on a positive line. Even we have to derive the positivity from the negative situation. This is also on one aspect of the optimism. So it's act as a powerful force of resilience, right? Like life throws course the curveballs and hard failures and different kinds of demotivating opportunities, but optimism helps us to bounce back from setbacks. So this is the real optimistic person always believe that this will shall pass, and after some applying some different kind of strategies, I will bounce back. And this is also I can relate it, like 2 years back my mom died with a cancer, and I was in a zone, I was like that life has ended. But no, being an optimism student, when I was pursuing my optimism coaching, it helped me that no, I didn't not that going her departure was positive, sorry, for negative for me, but positive for her, because her health was deteriorated every day. So we have to come back with a more resilience. Secondly, optimism fuels innovation. As I mentioned earlier, that after every failure, we have to work on different situations with different opportunities, different strategies. We don't need to change our goal. Whatever I have to achieve, we have to achieve, but through different strategies. We have to work out separately. If one door is closed, we have to work out to open another doors. So this is this, and sometimes definitely sometimes when we are looking for different options, we innovate, we find new different strategies. Then the third thing is that when we be on the way of innovation, definitely if sometimes we are unable to get exactly the result we want, it also helps us to to go to the collaboration as a problem solving. We work with different people, with different organizations, which help us to on the way of success and growth. For example, I mentioned earlier in my introduction that when I was low, I was feeling low, I was upset, Jessica J. Lockhart helped me. She offered her support, and she offered that join my International Institute of Humanology. So through this collaboration, I got into writing. She helped me to improve my writing. So this collaboration really helped me to polish my writing skills. So this is the one of the beauty of the being optimistic. And third thing is that mental health is very important when you're thinking about the because sometimes people think that optimism is related to happiness. If you're happy in something, your positivity level or your optimism level will increase. No, optimism actually directly related to our mental well-being. If we are thinking that okay, fine, this is the situation, but I have to come out from the situation, then it improve our mental health. And then of course, this is a digital world. There's so much stress. Being a mother, I have 3 kids. I have to work with them. Being a wife, I have so many responsibility. But as an individual, I have to, maintain my individuality, my social roles. So it's very important to being optimistic and find a way to how to pursue your aims, your goals, your dreams within your within your comfort zone. And sometimes you have to come out from your comfort zone to the growth zone. So it all goes like this. And lastly, optimism serves as a motivator for the positive change. Change is very important. Change is directly proportional to optimism. Optimism, it doesn't mean that you are stagnant. It means that you have to move on or towards your goal, but with a positive change, whether on an individual or societal level. The belief that things can improve propels us to taking action. And most optimists are mostly like to set ambitious goals, work towards self-improvement, and contribute to creating a better world. So it is very important that optimism, if just not like you're just sitting at home. For example, I'm not cooking anything and something will order me. No, it's not like that. We have to cook, okay? So it's like being hopeful, being positive, but at the same time work on yourself. I know time is short, so I will just conclude, and I have some more points which I elaborate in the panel discussion, definitely, because there are so many things to say about as an optimism coach. But back to Jessica. Thank you so much for having me again.
Thank you so much, Javeria. Yeah, it is true. Optimism is not blind. And I think hundreds of studies all around the world have already proven without a doubt that optimism improves our health and even expands our life expectancy. Yes, many studies by scientists all around the world have concluded the same results. Optimism is good for us. I am really thrilled to introduce the next panelist of tonight. She will be connecting, from the UK. Her name is Jaya Sajnani, and she is the founder of YG Travel and Helping Hand Foundation in the UK. She's co-founder and of Global Talent Solution Hub, board director of Loani Global, Ladies of All Nations International, another one of our collaborators. She's in the advisory board for 100 Successful Women in Business in the US of A, global ambassador of BMCC, City University of New York, entrepreneur from London, creating a mark and name in the male-dominated industry. She provides transport solutions to many parents in London and is working with educational institutions globally to provide educational tours and enhance the experience of outdoor learning for students. Alongside her social enterprise and NGO are helping and supporting many women in achieving their dreams. She's been awarded the International Women Recognition Award 2019 Entrepreneur by the Elite Club International at Delhi, India, and many other awards. She is highly successful, as you can see, and very interesting to listen to. Before I give you the floor, Jaya, really quickly, let me inform you, everyone, that we are already receiving a lot of comments on our thread on YouTube. People are connecting from places like Barcelona, Spain, Holland, India, Venezuela, Mexico. So welcome, everybody. Jaya, they're waiting to listen to you. Go ahead. These are your 5 minutes.
Oh my God, thank you so much. After receiving such a warm welcome, you are giving me only 5 minutes to talk. That's not fair, Jessica. But thank you so much. I'm really thankful for you to create this platform for everyone to listen. And there are many more people who are not here in the physically in UK or USA, but still they manage to gain this knowledge and experience from the people like us who have the years of experience, knowledge, and expertise. That's amazing platform. Thank you so much, Jessica. So today, obviously, our topic is the role of the optimism in today's life. There is a very nice saying. It says that optimism is a faith that leads to the achievement. And it is not just a luxury to have optimism. It is a necessity. In today's life, as we have recently seen the COVID and then how the downturn of the life went. Nobody expected this in their life. Nobody expected that tomorrow maybe I will not wake up or I will diagnose this with a long-term illness or anything. But these are happening. And in the realm of all these things, the optimism is the only tool which can make you feel alive, which can give you the hope that there is a still life after this minute, after this second, after this hour, and after this year. There is a life. We plan as a business person, as a corporate, as an entrepreneur, or even a working people. We budget our life, right? We budget our holidays. We plan everything. Why? Because every individual person is optimism there somewhere. Maybe some people are less. They feel that no, I'm a practical. Well, being a practical and being optimism, it's a two different things. That doesn't mean that you are too negative being a practical, but being a practical as well, there is some element of the optimism, because without optimism, there is no way you can breathe, because you are breathing at the moment. You are eating the healthy food. Why? Because you know that there is a tomorrow. Today, if you are earning some money and saving, that is optimism, because you know that there is a tomorrow and then expense will come. Let me do some saving so that I can spend, or tomorrow I will go for holiday. And that's day-to-day life we are living as a human. The optimism is actually core of the human life, because without that, I feel many of us will feel so miserable. I mean, I can give you a very, very small example. When I came from India, from the small town, came here in UK for the studies, and it was very, very hard. What if at that time I would have given up? But just because of my way of looking, the life was optimist. I am very optimist, and I see the things that even there is a 10% positivity, I will look at it. However, as the Gigi and Jessica has mentioned, that it's not being a blind. Yes, I have seen that, okay, there will be tomorrow and I will go through this day to day. However, what I need to do so that tomorrow will not be repeated as today. And that is called practical optimism, pure and natural. When you bring that your optimistic nature as your core, as your you, then you don't have to think twice that, am I doing the blindly following of wishful thinking that everything will be fine? No. There were so many people died in the COVID. You know, I know, right? There was a time we were literally locked up in the rooms. Everyone were locked up. We had no hope that there will be a day we will be talking to each other without the mask, or we will be handshaking again, or a hug. We were desperate to have a human touch. And look at this today. We've been 2 years down the line, and today the travel industry is booming. We are flying, we are hugging, we are smiling, we no more masks. Why? Because there was a hope that tomorrow will be better than today. And that hope, with the optimism, bring and gave us the mental strength to carry on. It is very important to have the mental strength. Yes, physically you can be tired, you can take some nourishment, you can take good food, everything is fine. But what do you do for your mental nourishment? And that's where the optimism helps, because that is a tool which make you feel again alive, again happy, something to look forward, somewhere to go forward. And that's why the role of the optimism today, especially today's life, where you hear lots of news, you know, age of 10, age of 11, that kids are going on the depression. Why? What kind of stress does kids have? We are millennia. We born with problems. We broke all the barriers, challenges. How? We did all this thing because we had that optimism in us, thinking that that's fine, that's a problem. One at a time, we'll be fine. Yeah. If you look at any of the faith religion schools or faith religion books, the first thing they will teach you, remember, the God is there. You are not alone. Why? We know that nobody has seen the God, but that is the mentally strength which gives you the optimism. And this is my end of session. I just want to tell you in summary, because I know I'm running out with the time, that trust me, optimism is the only boat which take you to the other side of the life. So be positive and be optimistic. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jaya. It is true, optimism is necessary. And contrary to what many people believe, we also teach at the Institute that optimism is basically very, very intellectual. Optimists think a lot. It's not that they blindly follow wishes and desires. No, they think a lot because they have to decide. And in order to decide, they have to think. I'm now going to invite our last panelist of the day. Remember that one of our panelists couldn't make it for whatever reason, we don't know yet. So I am really, really pleased to invite James S.O.U.L to be our last panelist for today. He is the creative director of the International Institute of Humanology, also an optimism coach trained by us. He's a chef, haute cuisine, and he's a graphic artist, an LGBTIQ plus mentor. So he has another perspective to add to everything that was said so far tonight. James, I am really thankful to you for being here tonight and for accepting to speak at our Congress last minute, but I am sure you have a lot to share. The 5 minutes are yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, everyone, for having me here, for letting me be part of this. This participating, our stories are amazing. I want to talk about the true power of optimism. As these ladies have mentioned, you can see that with optimism, you can do truly wonderful, incredible things. And in order to talk about this, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my own personal story as well. As Jessica just mentioned, I am an LGBTQ plus mentor. The reason that I am doing this partially is because I'm a transgender person. What does this mean? This means that I was born under a body or inside a body that did not resemble what or who I truly am. And I've taken the steps necessary or the steps that I consider necessary in order to become or be myself. I made this decision, or I started this process when I was 19 years old, and I am now 28. I started very young, as you can see, and this has led me to go through a lot of different experiences, some very, very good and some not so good. I have seen wonderful, amazing things in people, and I've also seen places and I've been in situations where there's truly been no humanity whatsoever. Yet I still persevered. I have still kept going. I have taken step by step, gotten up every day, and stayed true to myself. At no point did any of these people, any of these circumstances, any of the situations that I've been in, including living in places where it has been illegal to be who I am, I still kept going. I didn't stop taking my hormones, for example. I didn't stop the process at any point because of what other people told me, or no matter how bad I felt because of the situation. Why? Because I am an optimist. Because I believe that I deserve to be who I am. Because I deserve to be happy. I deserve peace in this world. Everybody else. And I kept going. No matter what, I kept going. I kept picking myself back up. And that's just one little part of myself. Let me tell you, I am currently battling a very, very, very severe depression. And you would say, how can you be an optimist if you are in a depression, if you see the world in such a negative way right now? That's why I'm saying this. Because you can be depressed and still be an optimist. An optimist is a person who doesn't give up, is a person who keeps going no matter what, is a person who chooses to look for more options. And if they can't find those options, they create them. It's a person who keeps going, who asks for help, who connects with others, who tries and enjoys every little thing, including the bad, because there's things to learn in it too. There's beauty in the bad, in the darkness too. That is what an optimist is. And yes, I am depressed. And yes, I'm currently getting help myself, because sometimes you can't do it alone. You know, I am the survivor of a very abusive relationship that nearly took my life. And it took me a very long time to be able to deal with this, and I am still dealing with this. But I am a survivor. I am an optimist. And I want to show you that there are different ways. And it's okay if you're depressed. It's okay if you see the world in a dark and negative way right now. That's okay. Keep going. Keep going, because you will see that there's so much more, even if you can't see it right now. Sometimes it just takes some time. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of love towards yourself and time. So that's why I only wanted to give you a little bit of an example. I can't talk here forever, but I want to show you that there's people who know what that's like, and you can keep going no matter what. Because you're strong, you're invincible at the end of the day, and nobody can take it. So choose to be an optimist. Because why choose to be a pessimist? What's the point? It's always a matter of choice. So choose to be an optimist every single day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, James, for that very touching testimonial as well. I know it took you a lot to be here present tonight and to share your story and your struggle with everybody, especially life. I want to invite all the panelists now to join me on this virtual stage. We're going to move on to the second part of our Congress today. We're going to be asking the questions that we prepared for our 5 panelists. James just got disconnected. Maybe something happened. I hope he comes back and we continues with our, there we go. So to the members of our audience who are actively writing and sharing comments with us from the United States, from Colombia as well. Hi, everybody. Thank you. Greetings to Sky, to James, sorry. They're saying you're very brave, and they're thanking also Gigia for her testimonial as well. And they're saying that they're enjoying these outstanding insights. Thank you to our audience. Now we have the questions for our panelists. Remember to raise your hand, be it a real hand or the virtual Zoom hand, to answer any of the questions I'm going to start posing. The first question says, in Humanology, we say that true optimism is rooted in common sense and logic. Do you agree? Why or why not? Who wants to take this first question? Gigia, go ahead. But open the mic.
I agree. Common sense. Martin Seligman says it. Hopes releases dreams. Dreams set goals. Goals give you the enthusiasm to search what you want. So don't give it a think. It's like Jessica said it. It's like I said it. We're born as enthusiastic. We're born as optimistic persons. Just don't let anybody else say it's wrong. James, don't let anybody say what you're struggling is wrong. You're brave. You're courageous. You are an example. And today, I'm in love with you.
Thank you, Gigia. Anybody else would like to answer this first question? Yeah, go ahead, Jaya.
Yes, I believe that optimism is rooted in our logic and common sense, because what happens when the true optimism is called, once it's rooted to your common sense, it's your by default reaction time. So for example, whenever we face any problems, any issues, there is an auto response without thinking logically. You just respond it. And if that response becomes the optimistic, that means you are a very positive heart person, and there is always a hope that you will see the light at the end of the tunnel, and that will make you long away. So yes, I believe that's true.
Thank you, Jaya. Okay, while we see if there's any other answers, we're already getting questions from our audience. James, go ahead.
Well, I would like to say that in some cases, it can be common sense and logic, but I don't think that that actually applies to everybody. There's never a one pill fits all or one size fits all. Never for anything. And I do think that there are people that are born without those traits. And I think that some people learn how to be an optimist along the way, how to see certain positivity or things like that, you know. For example, a lot of neurodivergent people struggle managing certain emotions, struggle perceiving certain social cues and things as such, and that can lead to having to learn or acquire certain traits that don't come naturally to us. These things can lead to having a false idea that everybody can naturally be an optimist. They can see certain things and they can have certain aspects of an optimist. However, I don't think that they are able to have all of them. You know, it can be a skill. That's why there's different things as having natural talent or skill. I believe that's being an optimist can even be a talent at times. And I think that that's why it's so important to teach optimism in schools and in our educational system from a very, very young age to show us what it is to have a healthy emotional relationship with others and with ourselves, how to find joy in things, how to aspire to do good, how to find beauty, how to create beauty. These things, I believe, should be taught because we can't assume that everybody knows how to do it. Yes, a lot of us are able to do so, but not all of us. And I think everybody should have a chance at being an optimist. So if we can lend a lending hand and show how to do those things, like for example, how we do here in the institute, we can actually do that and help each other be happier and become even better optimists. So that's what I wanted to add.
Thank you so much, James. Yeah, go ahead, Javeria.
I just want to add it because my whole talk was actually based on this logic and different strategies. As mentioned by James, and in some situations, sometimes we have to, our heart was saying something and our mind is saying something else, especially when there's some negativity and toxicity coming from our, very close relationships, and we are confused at, how to, tackle this situation. So at that time, it's very difficult to decide because mind says, okay, cut off these people, but it's difficult. But sometimes being an optimist, you have to take some harsh decisions for your mental peace. So it's all about yourself, how you tackle the situation.
Thank you, Javeria. I would like to add something. One of the things we teach at the Institute in Optimism Coaching is that whenever an optimist and a pessimist face the same obstacle, let's imagine that there is a race and we have the optimist and the pessimist trying to get to the other side and there's an obstacle on the way. If we get into the heads of those two people, the pessimist might be thinking something like, oh, there I go. You see that big, huge obstacle over there? Who do they think I am? An athlete? I'm not gonna make it. This is so tough. This is so difficult. No way. So the pessimist starts the race already thinking he's gonna fail. And when he gets to the obstacle and tries to jump over the obstacle and can't, he tells himself, see, I already knew it was impossible. Thus confirming what he already thought. The optimist sees the same obstacle and starts thinking, oh, that's a big obstacle. Oh, I hope I can really overcome it. When he gets to the obstacle and tries and jump over it, he can't, like the pessimist. But instead of giving up, he starts thinking about all the other cases in which he overcame obstacles. And he tries something different. He says, I remember that one time that I went through the right, and he tries the right. And if that doesn't work, he tries the left. And if that doesn't work, he digs a hole underneath to go. That's why we say that real optimism, not blind, senseless, unthinking. Real optimism is rooted in common sense and logic. And James mentioned neurodivergent people. When I worked with them on optimism coaching, they really had this logic behind their optimism. Maybe it was not such an exuberant kind of optimism like mine, but it was there because they do think a lot and they study the pros and cons very much. So it is very, very logical, I would say. We're getting more questions. Yeah, go ahead, Gigia, please.
It's basic common sense when you said, who's more there for you? If you don't rule for yourself, nobody else will. If you don't support yourself, nobody else will. What is the basis of supporting yourself? Being optimistic. So if you're not optimistic, you are not able to support yourself, to rule, to cheer for you. So we cheer for everybody else. Why don't we cheer for ourselves?
That positive mental dialogue that we all need. Totally agreed. Okay, we have another question for our beautiful panel tonight. And we're already receiving a lot of comments and questions from the audience that we will transmit in a few minutes. The second question is, do you have any tips on how to help people maintain their natural optimism? Javeria, go ahead, please.
Okay, this is very interesting question for me. Being an optimism, every day I'm giving tips and tools. Actually, it's just like redesign your life. It's all about redesigning your life, your personal skills and your professional skills. And when I say the personal skills means you have to have you have to change yourself, your dealing with the people. For example, reduce your expectations from people. Okay, learn to say no. Okay, and definitely, because most of the time when we are facing these failures, if as a on the personal relationship, if we have some emotional accidents, like for example, suddenly someone who was very close to our heart, and suddenly their attitude changes, that affects us. It's very important to understand why people are with you, working at the workplaces or at the personal. For example, people are joining you in your platforms. So somehow they are working with you since years, but suddenly they have changed their mind. They're leaving you after giving some lame excuses. So you should understand that why they were with you, whether your platform were benefiting them or they were benefiting your platform. So it is very important. Sometimes we become so overwhelmed that people are doing so many things, but in actual, they were doing something for themselves. So this is very important to redefine your understanding about the people. And also redesign your environment. Just like after some time we re-interior our house, we have changed the sofas and changed the furniture. It's just same. It's the same theory goes to the, in your personal life, that you have to close all the windows, from where the negativity is coming. I focus on a personal relationships, family, sibling, because it's very difficult, cut them out from your life. But constant negativity affects your mental peace. So these are the, so for them, I conclude like this: redesign your personal scale, redesign your environment, and close to the nature. For example, have you ever, observed the smoothing sound of running flow of water? You know what it tells us? That everything will go past, and you go with the flow. Okay, and just look at the trees. After every autumn and winter, all the leaves are leaving the trees, but they stand there firmly with the hope and optimism that winter will come. So these are all the things I think we can motivate and maintain our optimism levels.
Thank you so much, Javeria. Jaya, go ahead.
For me, quickly, I'll just tell you that for me, retaining, yes, because now and then, again and again, if we are getting the setbacks and the issues with obstacles and challenges, there will be a time where you question your optimism and you said, really, I hope I'm not getting blinded and I'm just saying that, okay, it's fine, I'll do this way. For me at that time, the main thing, how I retain it, my optimism, is self-talk. I start talking to myself in a positive manner, core myself, saying that no matter what happened, whether the situation changes, the problems comes, the challenges come, however, the core of me is me. And when I have a trust and the confidence on me, my way, the way I deal with the situation, I'm sure the things will change. And if it doesn't change, it is teaching me something. And I have to learn, because no situation, no challenges will go away until it will give you the lesson of your life. So be open-minded, be positive while you're talking to yourself, be humble, because you have gone through so much. So I see how I retain. First, I tell myself positive things, and I go through chain of the incidents of the problems I have overcome. And that boosts my experience and boosts my confidence that I can do that.
Thank you so much, Jaya. Go ahead, Gigi.
Well, besides all of my great colleagues have talked today, I think one of the powerful tools we have is kindness and gratefulness. Be grateful every day. Be kind every day. And don't forget, cope with things. Everything we face changes. Everything changes. Everything changes. Cope with changes. Flow. Let it flow.
Thank you, Gigi. You know, there's one more thing that I would like to suggest. Yeah, James, I'll give you the floor in a second. One important thing, and I think James somehow mentioned it. Ask for help if you need it. You know, we all lose our optimism at some times in our lives. I lost my own optimism, and here I am teaching optimism when I had my second car accident and I was told I would never walk again, and I was in constant acute pain for 7 years every single day, and would try and get up from bed and fall down to the floor. After all those days of constant acute pain and no medication because I'm allergic to everything, I lost it. I completely lost my optimism, and I was like this. A bit like James was describing, depressed. I wasn't in a full depression, but I was really not an optimist back then. Until somebody pointed it out to me and said, Jessica, where did your optimism go? And I said, true, where did it go? I want it back. And that's when I started studying optimism, Seligman, the first one, and created the method to recover it. And one of the things that I learned is that in order to maintain our natural optimism, we first need to know that we lost it, and that we need to want to keep it. We need to be aware of this. So if you are one of those people who lost it, realize that you can get it back. That's important. Okay, James, you wanted to add something. Go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to add that because we're all talking about making sure that once we lose it, we can retain it, we can get it this way. But we aren't so much focusing on how to keep the optimism that we already have, which I think was the question.
Yeah.
And I think that part of that is doing the things that spark joy in us. And sometimes we don't know what that is. And that can be very frustrating and can lead us to think that we don't have anything that makes us happy. But sometimes it's in the little things, you know, in having a cup of coffee, in chatting with a friend, in spending time with your pets, going for a walk, connecting with anything and everything. It's doing little things that generate neurotransmitters. It generates us endorphins, oxytocin, dopamine. All of these things are very, very important to us. serotonin, sorry, that was the other one I couldn't remember. Those are all very important to us because in reality, those are the chemicals that generate happiness or make us feel at ease and, feel as though we want to do things and things like that. So we can retain our optimism by doing these things. It's little things, it doesn't have to be constant. It's not a matter of trying to do it all constantly every day. We currently live in an age where everything has to be very intense, where all experiences have to be big or they don't count. But that's not the case. We must find the good in the little things too. And then you will see how there's actually a lot of things that spark joy in you. And once you start to see them, it's kind of like a domino effect as well. You start to look for more and you start to feel giddy about it. You start to feel happy because, oh, I enjoy that. Oh, and this, and this, and that. And it starts to build up and your optimism starts to grow. So it's not only that you retain your optimism, you are expanding it. We have that ability. That's incredible. It's a superpower, I think. So use that. Make it your superpower. That's what I wanted to say.
Thank you, James. Thank you so much. Yeah, because that's going to be my next question. We spoke about how to retain our natural optimism. And what I want to know now is how to increase it. How can people increase their optimism? Well, James gave us a few ideas. Anybody else who would like to share some more ideas on how to increase our optimism? Yeah, Gigi, go ahead.
Oh, just be empowered of your beliefs. Don't judge. I hate people that judge. I hate people that are preconceived. It's not hate. I don't like. I don't try not to mix up with it. That kind of people lowers my vibes, And grow out of comparisons. Don't compare yourself to other people. Because when you compare yourself, you are lost and your level of optimism goes down. See opportunities. Don't see, as you were saying, Jessica, with the example of when the pessimists start with this pessimist thinking. No, see the possibility, see the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you, Gigi. Anybody else who would like to add? Yes, Javeria and then Jaya.
I just add in the comment about the comparison. Comparisons are good. I mean, I will not say that don't do compare yourself with other people, but take it positively. Okay, because every person have different circumstances, working dynamics. So if someone is flourishing, adopt their good strategies. It's not like that if someone is flourishing, you think that, oh my, I'm not at that place. You can be that place, but within your own circumstances. So comparisons are always good, and most importantly, compare yourself with yourself. Last year, what were my goals? Have I achieved this year? And what would be my goals the next year? So, taking inspiration from other people, it's always good. It always improves us. But take it positively. That's the only idea.
Thank you, Javeria. Jaya?
Just the one point I wanted to add it, as you already touched, that are for health. Nobody here is a superpower person. So now and then, it's good to have someone where you speak to or you have that dialogue with, and it's okay. They may not agree with your perception, your perspective, but by just talking, you will clear your own doubts. By just saying your own problem to someone who you trust, who you believe they can be your mentor, and that really helps, and that increases because that makes you happy. Either you learn something new or you try believing or increasing your confidence back, saying that, yeah, the other person also agree. And if they don't agree, that's fine. You learn something new, the new perception. So be open to the universe and ask for the help. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you, Jaya. There's one thing I would like to mention. When we talk about optimism, a lot of people have the impression that we're saying we all need to be like this all day long, all happy, 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 and have no worries and don't think about anything negative. That's not what we mean at all, okay? Being an optimist is not being happy all the time. Being an optimist doesn't mean just looking for the good things in life, not at all. You can be an optimist, as James explained very clearly, and still be depressed. You can be an optimist and still have your bad moments. You can, I always use an example. You go to the movies, okay? And you are watching a movie, Titanic, and you're crying, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, they're dying, he's dying, oh. Does that mean that you're unhappy? No, you could be the happiest person in the world. You went to the movies very happy, but you're just watching something that is making you momentarily sad. Are you in general a pessimist or unhappy? No. Give yourself the time, the chance, and the opportunity to feel and to work through every emotion. Don't block any emotions. That's very important if you want to increase your optimism. Give it its space, give it its time, allow it to be. And once you've cried, once you've complained, once you've vented, as young people say, just go back to your own optimistic power and use it. James, you wanted to add something?
Yes, I wanted to just give 2 tips. Well, a suggestion and a tool, actually. But the first one is, okay, you're asking, how can you be more optimistic? Well, spend the day seeing how little kids behave and how they perceive the world, and try to mimic how they do things. You know, children have a humongous sense of wonder and joy and curiosity and wanting to be alive and feeling alive. Just try and copy them. Obviously not everything. You're not about to start eating mud or something like that, obviously, but you can follow certain things that they do, and you'll see that it's a really interesting experiment, because oftentimes we forget to do those things. We forget that we were kids once, and we forget to play with our food. We forget to jump and stump in the puddles. We forget to look up at the clouds and try and see what shapes they are. We forget that coloring outside of the lines is just as fun as coloring inside of them. We forget so many things that spark joy. So just as a suggestion, spend the day trying to copy how kids behave, how a child behaves, and see how you feel afterwards. That's just one. And the little tool that I wanted to speak about, it's not going to make you more optimistic, but it will generate the endorphins that we were talking about. And it's a great tool because you get to do it with another person. And, you know, it's kind of like what we spoke about before, the domino effect. Not only do you feel better, but most oftentimes the other person does too, which is the gift of time. It's a very, very simple gift. It's a very simple tool. All you have to do is set an amount of time and gift it to a person. So for example, I can tell Jessica, hey Jessica, I want to gift you this gift. I want to give you an hour of my time where we can do, obviously within limits, anything and everything that you choose to do at that time. We can try and plan out when it's going to happen, because obviously we might not be able to have the same time, but we will make it happen and see what happens. You'll see that many times that person not only feels loved by you because they feel recognized and acknowledged by you, but you will feel better as well because you will have connected with that person. And that will make you want to do it more times. And that is an optimistic trait. So you could technically say it's making you more of an optimist. So I just wanted to give out that little tool because I think it's very simple yet very effective.
Thank you so much, James. And I know what we're doing with that hour. You're cooking for me. Okay, let's go to the next question. As you know, you can all answer it or just a few of you. The question is the following. What are the key elements of optimism and what role do they play in helping us? Key elements and the role they play. Who wants to go first? Okay, Javeria and then James.
Okay, actually it's different. I mean, if I'm talking about as an optimism coach, then mostly people think that I am talking about some bookish thing, right? Always think positive, don't give up. And, but if I talk about a simple human being who actually have been, gone through a lot of, traumas after death of my parents. And so what I consider the key element is actually we have already mentioned many of them. But the key role is always that, as you mentioned, Jessica, that it's not like that life is bed of roses. It's true. It's not like always being, cheerful. It's not like always, be it's allowed for you to be depressed, as mentioned by James. It's allowed to, cry alone in the alone room, but for the certain period of time. If you are hurt by someone, you have you face any failure, one of my friend actually last week actually we were discussing something that I told him on a joke and I read he laughed at it and I again told the joke again. So he said, why are you telling me the joke again and again? I cannot laugh again. I said, okay, if you cannot laugh again and again, then why are you depressed again and on the same thing? So all the time we are reminding the thing, oh my god, this happened at that place, that person told me this. It's very difficult, just forget, okay, celebrate your, like, just like happiness, celebrate your griefs, but for a certain period of time. This is a key element, I'm telling you. For me, actually, I applied on it, so it's very important. I don't rethink about the grievance, the failures, move on. Okay, don't think about whatever happened. The past is past. Think about present. Don't ruin your future by always thinking about your past. So always be in the present. Even don't think about so much, think about future, because future is always also out of your control. Past has gone, future is not of control. Enjoy your present, that's it. So this is a key element, one of the key elements. So definitely the other, my colleagues will highlight other things, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Javeria. Yeah, it's one of the key elements. What else would you like to add, James?
Well, I mean, I think that there are a lot of different elements, but like we said before, there isn't one size fits all. So I think that there can be different elements for what's considered optimism for different people. And some people might consider a certain trait negative, but that person might consider it positive and helpful. So I think that it can be up to a person's own personal definition, first of all. But I would like to say that in my own opinion, for me, it's, like we said, a person who doesn't give up. It's a person who allows themselves to make mistakes. It's a person who allows themselves to fall, to get hurt, to try again, to learn from things or not. Sometimes you don't learn, but you keep going, and that's okay. It's a person who tries to love themselves even when they can't find anything to love. It is a person who seeks help and connects with others, even in the smallest and simplest ways. It's a person who just chooses to take it step by step. And sometimes those can be a millimeter long. They can be steps of an ant, but they're still steps. It's okay to be sad, like Javeria said. It's okay to feel depressed, to feel in that sense. And if you need to wallow in your sense of despair and your sense of sadness, do so. It's okay. Even if it takes a very long time, that's fine. Allow yourself to grieve. Allow yourself to feel those emotions. Don't try to lock them up, because by locking them up, you're not allowing yourself to be who you are. And that's part of being an optimist, is giving yourself that permission, that self-love, that compassion, because it's very, very hard to be compassionate with yourself. It's much easier to love others and to help others and seek joy and optimism externally. But it has to come from within. The circumstances should not matter. What should matter is how you are, how you feel, no matter the state. So those are the traits that I would say make a person an optimist. And many, many, many more. This could be a debate for very, very long, but we don't have that much time, sadly. So I just wanted to focus on a few that I think are very, very important.
Thank you so much, James. Gigi?
Well, as a coach, coaches, we just ask questions. We don't give answers. So as a coach, I'm just going to leave you with two questions. How permanent is that situation? Do you control that situation? How that situation affects all the aspects of your life? Those two questions will give you the answers of how get elements to keep up with your optimism.
Thank you, Gigi. Jaya?
Yeah, for me, it is very important that I acknowledge that there is a situation and be grateful whatever it comes. And that means it may be the harsh reality that, yes, there is some lacking in my potential or my capacity, which I need to increase it, which I need to work on it. But with that optimism that this will pass, whether the factors, situation, some things are not under our control. And we have to accept that it is not under my control. If weather is bad, it's bad. It's raining. There's no reason why you're sitting over and thinking that, oh my God, it's raining. If you have to do something.
Oops, Jaya? Okay, this is a very clear example of optimism. I think Jaya's connection is failing. So while she reconnects, yes, Jaya? Okay, while she reconnects, I would like to touch upon one key element of optimism that is sometimes misunderstood. Jaya, you got disconnected? We couldn't hear the end of your, no, there's still some trouble. So yeah, let's see. Can we hear you now, Jaya? Yes, hello. Can you hear me, Jaya?
Thank you. I can hear you very well. Yes.
Okay, we lost you for a second there. So can you please finish? No? Okay, so as I was saying, there is one element of optimism that has led to a lot of controversy that I wanted to mention, and that is somehow seen under a different light in our own explanation of optimism at the Institute. I'll give you the floor in a minute, Jaya. We usually say that optimism is resilience plus hope. You see, a lot of people say that optimism is part of resilience. We disagree. We think that resilience is part of optimism. And why do we say this? Because resilience is a technical term that comes from physics. And it refers to the capacity that an object has to regain its own natural shape when the pressure it's subject to disappears or stops. So if you squeeze a ball and it shrinks and you stop squeezing, it goes back to its original shape. That is resilience. And when they apply it to human beings, they say it's the capacity a person has to bounce back after a fall. But see, that's not enough in optimism. We explain that standing up again after you fall, it's not going to make you advance, or progress. When children are learning to walk, they fall, they don't just stand up again and stay there, do they? No, they try to take one more step. That's where the hope comes in. That's why we say that optimism is bigger than resilience. It includes resilience, but resilience needs hope to push us farther, to take us one more step farther so we can progress, so we can advance. Resilience is great, but don't stop at resilience. Also be hopeful, because like that, you will actually make progress. That's what we usually teach at the Institute. Jaya, let's see if we can finish listening to you now. Sorry.
I am so sorry. I think it's a network issue. Yes, the final, just I was concluding by saying that it is very important you see the situation as it is. Don't see too negative, don't see too positive, or be the wishful, blind, wishful, thoughtful, but just see as it is, and try to logically or practically, or you can say the optimistically, see through and see how we can fix this, because end of the day, life is about moving on.
Totally. Thank you so much, Jaya. Go ahead, Javeria.
Actually, from this talk, I just had an issue when I was preparing the iftar, the half an hour before. So I suddenly feel that my stove is not working, and I was baking my pasta, my the pakoras I used to cook.
Yeah.
It's not like cooking. So what happened? Suddenly I found that my electric stove was not working, and there was only half an hour of the fasting. So at that time, I was like, okay, what I have to do? I said, oh, my kid said, okay, let's go to the Baba and he will take out some solution. I said, what he will do? So I was, for 5 minutes, I was like, okay, now I have to give it up. My son said, okay, Mama, I think we have to order the food. I said, no. Suddenly, I started working options, and suddenly I found that I have small stove, and just I took it out, I put the, the immediate food on that and cooked it. And right now it's my baked pasta is on the small pot, and I created the small oven right now, and it's there. So this is an optimism. So I was just laughing at that time that I will share this incident during if I get the chance, that okay, at that time, okay, I was like, no, I will not give up. I will not order the food. This is my first Ramadan, and every day, every year, first Ramadan, I never ordered the food. I just, I did the table decoration, and I have spread the beautiful ambience around the home, and I will put the dishes. So no, I will fill the dishes with my own cooked food. So this is what that you have been an optimist person. You have to find the solutions rather than oh my God, what happened. So this is it. This is a real optimism, I would believe.
Well done, Javeria. Well done. I'm sure your family will enjoy that dinner.
Yeah,
I'm
they're enjoying.
salivating already thinking about that. Okay, these are the questions we have ready for you tonight, but we already have questions from our audience, and we're going to start sharing them with you. The first question, as such, we have many comments, but the first question we have comes from India and says, can optimism be a permanent mindset? If yes, how? So can optimism be a permanent mindset? Who wants to take this one on? James, go ahead.
Well, I would say that more so than a mindset, being an optimist is a lifestyle, I think, because you choose to be an optimist. You choose to think this way, to keep going, to do everything that we have mentioned in the past hour and so. A mindset is more of how we think, of which beliefs we have, of which ideologies we have in ourselves that make us view the world the way that we see it. It can be part of our mindset to try and see things in an optimistic way. But I think that being an optimist is more than just a mindset. That's why I say it's a lifestyle. Because you need to practice it actively every day. kind of like a sport, right? And we say that when a person is active, that's a lifestyle. It's an active lifestyle. You are being this way. This is the same. It's an optimistic lifestyle. So choose to do it. Train your body and your mind and your soul to be an optimist, just like any sport. Go to the gym of the soul every day, and you will see that it pays out. You know, just like any workout, it takes time, it takes effort, but at the end, you see the rewards. So, yeah, I think it's a lifestyle. Jessica,
Sorry,
we
I
can't
was
hear
muted.
you.
Yes, sorry. Thank you so much, James. I was saying, I thought I saw another hand raised, but I can't see it now. Anybody else? Yes, go ahead, Gija, and then Jaya, please.
As much as I agree with James in terms of mindset, seeing from the point of view of mindfulness, I think it's a mindset. When you live the today, the here, the now, you train yourself to be optimistic because you choose to see what's good, not what's bad. You choose to see the sun. You choose to see that good is raining because my plants need the water. Good is raining because this heat is coming down. So it's a mindset too. You can also live it when you are here and now.
Thank you, Gija. Jaya?
Thank you, Gigi. I was just thinking same thing. Today started raining and I was like, oh my God, I have 6-meter long garden and do I need to water it? Nah, I don't need to water it. Today's raining. So yes, the answer for that is nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent other than the change. So can you see yourself that yesterday you were same as today? No. 5 years before, I was so totally different person. 10 years before, I was different. And then coming 5 years, I will be completely different. And if it is the same, that is the problem. So yes, optimism it cannot be permanent. It will be fluctuate as it's your mindset, it's emotions, it drives from factors, the situation you face. But as nicely Jane, Gia, and everyone mentioned it, that it's you choose to be. That's it. You see the positive side of this, and you know that this is not under my control. All I can do is think positive, think this situation, that what is positive in that situation, and then move on. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaya. Yes, go ahead, Javeria.
I will explain this with my own example. Actually, when I'm a mechanical engineer, and when I moved to Saudi Arabia in 2007, I was working in Pakistan as a very established and successful design engineer of air conditioning. When I came here, of course, the working dynamics was not favorable to women. So first 2-3 years, I like, okay, I can wait it, I can relax, because after having a horrible engineering studies, I said, okay, these 2 years, 3 years, I'll take a break and I will relax myself. But after that, when I said, okay, I cannot pursue my career the way I should be, I should do something else which can be beneficial for me also and for the community also. So at that time, I didn't give up. I feel very positive and hopeful that, okay, I should utilize my different skills and ability to serve the community. And in 2013, I started my own social and entrepreneur club. And what I am doing right now actually was a totally different what I have, had acquired a degree in terms of engineering. So as an optimism person, I actually, as mentioned by Gigi in her talk, that where opportunities were not there, but I created those opportunities, to move on, to become a writer, which was my childhood dream. So it's not a mindset, it's not a lifestyle. It's like, just take it optimism as a positive tool So it will automatically become your lifestyle. And as mentioned by Dr. Jaya, nothing is permanent, definitely. Yeah, maybe after some time I will feel little sad or little disappointed. So maybe one day I will take a break. Taking a break is not like that I'm become pessimist or I am done. I just want to watch a movie today. I don't want to work. Okay, I'm feeling depressed. I will go shopping. Okay, fine. Yes, I'm a person. I'm a human being. I will go shopping. I had a fight with, I will fight with my husband for a change. So, it's just like, yes. So sometimes take it as a tool, positive tool, and enjoy this tool actually. Thank you.
Thank
I
you
like
so much.
the way you said it. That's for a change.
That's so fantastic. Okay, there's one thing I would like to add too, which is there's something called confirmation bias. Okay, whatever we believe, we find confirmation in our reality. And I always use one example that clearly illustrates this, and is based on an anecdote in my own life again. I always tell everyone that I park wherever I go, right at the door. Or when I say the door is the block, maximum the block. Well, I am disabled, so I do have one of those little blue things to park, but that makes it a little easier. But I always said that before I was given that blue thing. But I recall a few years ago, I was in Barcelona. I had some conferences there, and I was going to go make a presentation in downtown Barcelona, the old part of the city that is mostly for pedestrian use. And I was staying at a friend's house, and the day before, she calls me to the kitchen and she says, Jessica, I called a taxi. And I said, you called a taxi? Are we going somewhere? And she said, no, for tomorrow. I'm lost. For tomorrow? Why? What for? She said, so the taxi can drive us to the venue. I said, but you have a car. Why would we pay a taxi? No, because it's impossible to park in Barcelona. I said, okay, you worried me. Don't worry, I'm going with you. You'll park at the door. No, I won't. It's impossible to park in Barcelona. I said, don't worry, we will. Yeah, we have all the boxes with books, your books, and we have to bring those books. No, we're going to go by taxi. And I said, why pay if we have a car? And then she was getting a little upset. So I said, you know what? Cancel the taxi. I will pay if we have to park in a public parking space. I will pay for it. And if we end up having to take a taxi, I will cover the expenses as well. The following day, my friend was really, really mad at me. She was angry. We got the boxes, put them in the car, and she was grumpy and mumbling all the time. So we got into the car, and as we were driving, she lives outside of Barcelona, we were driving to downtown Barcelona, and she was complaining all the time. Now you're gonna see, we're not gonna park, we're gonna be late. I was like, hey, cool down, don't worry. We will park at the door. It's impossible. She was getting really angry. I said, nothing's impossible. I always do. Well, you might do, but this is Barcelona, and I know my city. It's impossible to park in Barcelona. And I said, okay, just let me know when we're about 2 blocks from the place. Yeah, but you'll see, we won't be able to park around. And she was still grumbling and mumbling. And then she said, okay, we're 2 blocks away from the place. I said, okay. Oh, there you have a parking spot? And she was like, oh, I didn't see it. I said, don't worry, we're still far. We'll find another one. No, we won't. So as she was driving, I said, hey, there you have one. I don't fit in. Yes, you do. No, I don't. This is my car. I know. Confirmation biased. She continued driving, and to cut a long story short, when we got to the street next to the venue, because the venue was on a pedestrian street, but the street next to the venue, oh, alas, there was a free parking spot. So I tell her, look, she parks, she turns around, she looks at me and she says, you're a witch. And I said, oh, I'm not a witch. Do you want me to explain this to you? I said, yeah, please. She was really freaking out. I said, look, there's something called confirmation bias. everything we believe, there is a little part in our brain that confirms it, so we feel calm and relaxed. Our brain is confirming our biases 100% of the time, all the time, because when we doubt our beliefs, we feel anxious and uncomfortable. So this is a protection mechanism that our brain incorporates to help us be at peace. Whatever you believe, your brain will try and find confirmation in reality. So you're relaxed. So I believe I'm going to find a parking spot. So what is my brain doing? It's actively, like a sonar, beep, 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 actively looking for a parking spot so I can relax and confirm my belief. But you actually believe it's important to park in Barcelona. So what is your brain doing? It's blocking the possible parking spots. It's not allowing you to see them. And when you do see them, you find them too small, too big, too difficult, too complicated, too whatever. She was all like, oh my God, that makes sense. I said, yeah, I've been using it my whole life. So, of course, today she parks at the door as well, you know. But answering this gentleman from India, I think that this confirmation bias helps us create this optimistic mindset. It helps us maintain it because once you believe it, it becomes a reality. So I would invite everyone in our audience today to try this little trick. Well, if everybody starts thinking about, I can park everywhere I go, we might not be able to park because all the spots are going to be taken. But no, really use this confirmation bias to look for positive things in your life. Believe you're going to get them, and you will. It's part of life. Of course, this doesn't mean that miracles are just going to start happening, that impossible things are just going to start happening. But if it is possible, your brain will find a way to make you see it. And that is what this confirmation bias is all about. And that's why it's so important. Okay, there's one comment that I want to read from our audience. And then there's one more question. The comment says, thank you, James. I'm translating because it's in Spanish, okay? It says, thank you, James and Jessica. I'm going to give myself a second chance at life. I don't know how, but tonight I will not even look at my box of pills. I love you. Well, to this person in the audience, thank you. Be brave. We're really, really, really proud of you. And if you need to talk, you know where we are. You can always call us. And if you need any help, there's a hand raised by James as well. Just call us. Okay? Okay, if you have more questions, audience, keep on writing them. I have a question that I want to ask you. I said before that we're taught to stop being optimistic. As children, we're born optimists. But I was born in the US. I grew up in Spain. I've lived in 8 different countries, both in America and Europe. I went as far as Russia, not in Asia though. And in every one of those cultures, I saw the same thing, children being told to stop being so optimistic. I want to ask our panelists, first, what their experience is, if that happens in their country as well, in their original or adoptive countries. And second, what do you think we should do as societies? Should we change the way we educate our children so they keep their own natural optimism? That's my question for you all. Javeria, go ahead, please.
Okay, because I'm belong to a Asian society, so actually from the childhood, unfortunately, we create a difference between a girl and a boy. You know, we suppressed girls a lot, that in terms of having higher education, most of the time, and most of the families, they are, since childhood, they have only listen from their parents that you have to get married. So, you know, and because of, you know, we have so many dowry system in our society that we have to give a lot of things when a girl is getting married. A part of education, because I think education is the best ornament, or the best thing which we should give to our girls, because at that time, if his husband is not supportive, at least if girl have any good financial degree, they can, support her husband. So since childhood, if girl is, involved in this kind of atmosphere, nurturing, then definitely how you would expect that she will be an optimistic person. So, and if I go to the boys, every time if you will highlight a gender that you are, upholding, you are, you are dominant, then definitely they will always, they will also, lose that kind of optimism that they will, if their counterpart is not fulfilling their requirement the way they want, then definitely they will become, of course, the pessimist. Like, so both of these aspects are rooted in our Asian society. So as you mentioned that what kind of adaptation actually, so we need to change the mindset that girls are part of, gender discrimination. Education is for all. Higher education is for all. Religious independence is for all. Taking your decisions on your mindset, whatever you want to achieve in your life, it should be equal for both genders. So gender equality is more important these days in our Asian society. And most of the cases, being an optimism coach, I was receiving from a woman, especially from an expert woman. They have moved from their countries to the Saudi Arabia. And here, as you mentioned, that as I mentioned earlier in my talk, that working dynamics is not favorable to us. So the husband have adopted this, like they are coming back, they need a wife, they need a home cooked food, they need a clean home, but they have forgotten that this lady or this woman has her own individuality. She was working in Pakistan or India or anywhere else. She was an engineer, she was a doctor. If I have given up on my dreams as a doctor, as a professional, then nobody is motivating me. So this is very important to teach our boys and girls that both of you have equal rights on the basis of humanity, a part of religion, a part of politics, a part of everything, being human. That's my thought.
Thank you so much, Javeria, especially for speaking up so clearly. Anybody else wants to answer or add something? Jaya, go ahead, please.
I definitely, coming from the Asian background, I definitely echo Javeria, what she said, and there were many bitter experience I myself have come across, but this is not what I want to talk about here. What I want to talk about is the concern that why, when I go back to India and speak to parents, and then why they teach that little child that don't live in the dream. And the answer I definitely get from parents is because this little life is going to grow up and the reality is harsh. Now they are saying this because this is what they experience. But we are in 21st century, life has changed, every day is changing. And why? Because some of us were optimistic that time and decided to make the change, worked towards to make the change, and that's why the changes happen. But if now you are making your children saying that don't live in your dream, then that means you are killing their creativity. And that is the crime, I would say, because the way the pace, the AI is taking over our world, the only thing left with the humans is the creativity, our own. Why are you killing them? So I would say, yes, I have seen myself, even today's world, even in the Western countries as well. I have seen where parents are telling kids that, you know what, don't do it, because they are afraid that if the child will not reach their expectation, the child will go on depression. They will fail, then they will.
Jaya's cutting again.
Do that to the kid.
Uh-huh.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
So yes, finally, I just want to say that don't do things to your own kids.
Which brings us back to confirmation bias, as I explained it before. If you believe you are not able to, you won't be able to. And there's one more thing. We are being raised in societies that praise and really defend and propose competition as the #1 goal in life. Children are set to compete at a very young age, and they're told that only winning and being #1 is valid. And that's where the expectations come from. And that's where they're telling them, be realistic, but be #1, be realistic, but win. So it's contradictory messages that children are receiving. And I think that this competitive worldview is at the root of so many problems. And I think that should change together with a decision to stop curtailing everybody's optimism. I think those two should go hand in hand. Sorry, Gigi, go ahead, and then James.
Not in vain, I'm from Latin America. And not in vain, I'm from Colombia, the happiest country in the world. Thank God. Because if one of the things we teach here, being as a part of a third world country, is optimism, everything is going to be better. Everything is going to get better. Fight for your dreams is what we teach our kids. We fight for equality. We fight for, we teach, not fight, I hate fighting. We teach equality. We teach dreaming is okay. We teach mess up is okay. It's okay to mess up. It's okay to try again. It's okay, you don't like it? Go ahead, try another one. And that's why we actually are the happiest country in the world. And if we are not as industrialized or as wealthy as other countries, at least we are happy and we are preparing our children to face difficulties with a smile. And in Colombia, everybody says thank you. In tanque, obrigado, whatever, in other idioms. But in Colombia, we say always, gracias a Dios, thank God. And we say it with a smile because we know there's always a higher power watching us. And that's what makes us like we are.
Thank you so much, Gigi. James?
Well, I am originally from Spain, and I must say that in Spain, children are treated that way. They're told to get out of the clouds, to, have their feet on the ground, to snap back to reality, things like this. And we grow up in a mentality where we have to correct those things that are considered false, that are considered negative about us. And I've lived in 7 different countries, and I have to say that I've found the exact same thing in every single one of them. So it's not just a Spanish thing, it's a global thing, I would say. And I think that that's something that is very important that we have to focus on. And it's something that is taught at the Institute, and it's one of the roots of Humanology, which is construct or build on the positive. Educate based on the positive. What is the child doing well? What do they excel in? What are their talents? What makes them happy? Focus on that and try and build on that. Make that grow. And you will not only most probably raise an optimist, but you will raise that person who dares to dream and change the world. That's where creators, inventors, dreamers, people who don't give up and make the world the way it is right now, that's how they get there. Because it comes from the source. Children learn from what they perceive, what surrounds them. If their parents, who most oftentimes their child idolizes, focuses on that and praises the child and celebrates every single time the child does something good, It would also create positive reinforcement, and the child will celebrate every time it accomplishes something as well, naturally, because it will add it to its repertoire of tools on how to handle situations. And that will make the child stronger. You're afraid that your child will have to face failure and rejection and hardship from the world. That's inevitable. The world is hard. But why make it harder? Teach them that they can overcome those things, that even if they have a failure, so what? What is there to learn from that failure? How can they grow from that? They dealt with a hard situation that they don't know how to get out of. That's okay. We all deal with situations like that. Okay, what is hard about it? Why does it make you feel this way? How can we change this? How can we actively get to where we want to get? We create change by focusing on the positive. If we focused on, oh, you're doing that so badly, and why are you focusing on this? And why are you centered and feeling like this and feeling gloomy? And what are we creating? We're creating insecurity. We're creating self-doubt. We're creating low self-esteem. We're creating a child who needs external praise in order to feel confident and in order to feel like they're doing something right. That is where we are messing up. So we have to work with the child, build on the positive, focus on the positive. Because when you do, you will see that child get to its fullest potential. If you focus on correcting the faults, you will only get so far. You will only get to the limit of the capacity of the child. And it will never truly know how wonderful and great they can actually be. So focus on the positive.
Thank you so much, James. Yes, Javeria?
Only one thing I just want to add, that before educating your kids, being a parent, you have to educate yourself. First, you have to be optimistic. First, you have to think about on a positive lines. Okay. So if you are thinking, for example, you cannot manage a sibling rivalry sometimes, right? Because you have faced the same situation in your past and you are imposing the same things on with your kids. So it's very important to work in a parallel. Work on yourself, then work on your kids. Because if you will teach them to be positive, and the second you're fighting with someone else, or you're blaming someone else, then what kind of example you're setting in front of your kids? So preach before you skill yourself. Definitely.
Thank you, Javeria. Yes, Gigia?
Just say I'm a grandma and I got a second chance, because we as parents, we always fail and we get second chances. And as grandparents, we get that second chance. And I did it with Nicolas. I'm doing it every day. It's okay. It's okay not to make goals. He plays soccer. He sucks at soccer. But he sucks. But I always keep cheering for him. Go do it. Just run. Kick that ball. It's okay to dream. You can be James Rodriguez. You can be Cristiano Ronaldo. Yes, you can be. Maybe he can, but at least he has the strength and he has the power to go and try. And for kids in Latin America, they need that. They need that dream. They need that Messi. They need that Ronaldo. They need those people that came from down and they made it. And that's the optimism we can give our children. Let them fail. It's okay if you suck at it. It's okay if you are not good at it. Go do it. Go do it. That's what I say.
This is funny because in the Spanish part of the Congress, there was one of the panelists who explained that in the Barcelona soccer team, they train their players on an 80 to 20% basis. They ask them to train 80% of their time in that which they're good at, and 20% only in that which they're not that good at. Why? Because if you're a great goalie, you're fantastic at stopping balls, and you spend 80% of your time kicking the ball, you're not going to improve as a goalie or as a goalkeeper. You need to really work on that which you're good at. And that is something that we neglect to do. And that is something that we can already start changing with our kids and with ourselves and with the world. There's comments from our audience. Luke is saying, thank you, Jessica, and the 4 panelists, James, Gigia, Javeria, and Dr. Jaya, for such wonderful inputs on optimism. And there's other comments thanking you for your contributions. I want to thank the 4 panelists today. Sorry, we missed the 5th one, but I think the panel was brilliant. I know that it inspired me. I hope it inspired our audience as well. And I know that a lot of people will watch it later. If you're watching this on a rerun, please write your comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and please leave your questions too, so we can answer them later as well. Thank you, James. Thank you, Gigia. Thank you, Javeria. And thank you, Jaya, for being here. It was an honor to conduct this panel with you all. And to our audience, please don't forget that this is the first of the English panels in the first International Congress, More Human, Rehumanizing Humanity, and that we have another panel tomorrow. Sorry. Tomorrow at the same time, we're going to have 5 new experts, 5 new panelists who are going to focus on another very important human topic, which is physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Don't miss it. Join us again. I am sure there will be a lot of insights, a lot of information, a lot of lessons and wisdom to share. I am Jessica Lockhart. This is the International Institute of Humanology, Rehumanizing Humanity, which I think is a task for each and every one of us. Thank you, everybody. Lots of love.